Hi everyone, welcome to AWE Asia 2021. My name is Parul Wadhwa and I'm super excited to be here as a speaker. I would like to extend my thanks to AWE Asia 2021 for inviting me to give this talk on ethnographic storytelling in XR, which is my work as a storyteller, as a director and producer. So I'll be getting a little bit into that just a bit later. But just to tell you what ethnographic storytelling means, I come from a film and entertainment background with the documentary setting, and most of my career has been working with communities, making very personal stories. So, taking that approach into XR, VR, I will be talking about my latest project called Stories of Home, and I'm super excited to share that with you. So, let's just get started. I am the creative director of a very awesome XR project called Stories of Home. I really encourage you to check it out because it does open your ways into participatory methods of storytelling using XR as a tool and working with communities for social impact. Just a little bit about myself before I get started about the project. My name is Parul Wadhwa, and I'm an immersive storyteller. And as an XR director, I've been very focused on making personal stories for social impact. I've been using new technologies for impact based storytelling and also for enterprise work. Currently, I work as an Adobe's creative ambassador and also as an Epic Games virtual production fellow. I mostly develop VR within the Facebook Oculus Start and Creator programs, including Launchpad, where I've been an alumni. I advocate for emerging technologies also as a thought leader for AR, VR, and XR at the Transformative Technology Lab, which is a think bank based out of Stanford University. I'm proud to be an alumna of the prestigious Tribeca Film Institute in New York and also the European Social Documentary Alumna in Italy. I also hold an MFA, a Master's of Fine Arts in Digital Arts and New Media from the Digital Arts Research Center at the University of California. And I'm super excited to be here sharing my vision for the project that I've created in XR and talk about you here in China. So I collaborated with this interesting nonprofit organization based in the Bay Area, where I'm located in California, called StoryCenter, who have been using arts and technologies approach for the last 20 years to listen and share stories in the community to build a just and healthy world. They advocate for social justice and offer public and customized workshops. Um, and the project that came out of my collaboration with them is called Stories of Home, which is a participatory VR interactive project. The purpose of doing this project for me was to amplify women's voices, especially immigrant and refugee women in the Bay Area who often left get out of the narratives of migration. I crafted this project through a very collaborative approach, working with Story Center and its partners, with a small group of three refugee and immigrant women who shared their very own personal stories of home, about living in the United States. And the project gives you a chance to walk into the lives of these women through very impactful tilt brush based painted stories in immersive based storytelling. So, the storytelling workshop sort of helped us build the strength and resilience of the women that we were working with, who co collaborated with me to create this project. They articulated their experiences on their own terms and worked with me to co create very immersive media places. We also blended wellness based therapy approaches with Story Center's well tested group and also partner called Wellness in Action. And the immersive nature of the project offers an in depth environment for exploration and healing from both the participants who are watching and participating in this experience, and also my co-collaborators, my storytellers, the three immigrant and refugee women that I collaborated with to create this experience. So all the three stories that I created within the Stories of Home project were drawn in tilt brush. And the reason that it became a very ethnographic way of exploring storytelling in XR is that I spent a lot of time working with these communities, living with them, learning about the immigrant and refugee experiences here in the Bay Area, and yet at the same time bringing them into the fold of XR, believing that XR can also be used for community based approaches, and for storytelling, and for impact based work within the communities. Post that, we created tilt brush drawings using photogrammetry and parallax movements. Most of the work that you see in the project is actually derived from real experiences, ethnographic experiences, just taking a very fly on the wall documentary approach with the community, living with them, taking their real time experiences. So, for example, the photograph that you see on my screen is of one of the participants, one of the storytellers called Anju Suba, whose story is called Red Ribbon. And she talks about her experiences of being in a refugee camp in Nepal, and dealing with all the approaches of that South Asian experience, which translated into her life here in the United States as a beautician. And then we took these real experiences, photographs, videos, lived experiences, and converted them into tilt brush drawings, which you can experience that in a very interactive way in the project. So the approach, as I was talking about, is very participatory. We used a workshop method where we trained three storytellers from the immigrant and refugee community. All three of them were curated with me and StoryCenter. And first, they used two different approaches to talk about their stories in XR. The first approach that they use is about telling their stories about material objects that they care most about. So, in some of these instances, you will hear about objects that are close to the immigrant and refugee women, who are co collaborators and storytellers in this project. But then there are objects that they speak about that were kind of lost in this translation of migration from the different countries that were coming from into the United States. And the whole idea was to recreate that whole environment and this experience for not just them, but also the participants as well, so that they can explore their idea of self representation. And which is where it comes to the second approach that we took to storytelling in this project, was the self representation. Now, oftentimes you will see that in most of the stories that you come across on the refugee experience, um, either the storyteller, the director, the producer goes into the storytelling environment, crafts a story out there, and comes out of that. In this approach, it was a little different because A, I was part of that community, I lived with them. I breathed the same air, I lived the same stories, and I brought them back into VR using tilt brush and photogrammetry. And the approach was very much to heal these women, using a very therapy based approach with our partner called Wellness in Action. And then also to allow them to self represent. Because in most of the stories that you will see about the refugee experience, there's a lot of dehumanizing that happens, and everyone is put into the same bracket. And especially when it comes to talking about women's experiences of migration, they're always sidetracked. The reason for that being that women are never really at the forefront, and the stories are never really spoken about in the narrative of migration. And also as as children, as them experiencing that whole trauma of migration before they became women. of substance. So for me, that was really important, that approach. Instead of using a very extractive approach, we decided to go within the community, um, creating these 360 films, using a very collaborative process, and recreating that whole environment in VR. I would also like to say that all these stories were written and recorded by the women who were participating in the process, the refugee and immigrant women, and no voiceover artists were used whatsoever. Additionally, as I've already spoken about it, that our approach was to heal their process, was to heal their traumas of migration. So we partnered with a licensed therapist from our partner organization, Wellness in Action, which specializes in working with immigrant in very vulnerable and marginalized populations of refugee and immigrant communities. And they oversaw the process and worked one on one with us to help these women storytellers share their material memories in something which could be ethically sound in terms of a migration related trauma. I would talk now a little bit about the way that you can experience the app. It's available in the Oculus App Store and also inside Quest, easily downloadable onto any of your Quest devices, one or two. And the audience journey is very simple. It's a three-dot way of experiencing three different stories in an interactive way where you get to take the action and experience and step into the shoes of these women who have spoken about very personal narratives of growing up in refugee and settlement colonies before they could call the United States their home. Don't forget to download our app through SideQuest or through the Oculus App Lab. And I would love to hear the feedback and what you thought of these storytellers and our effort to do this community-based ethnographic approach to storytelling. So at this point, I will be showing a very short trailer of the Stories of Home VR, just to give you a little bite into what the project was all about, what the experience was all about for us, creating it, and I will leave you asking for more, hopefully, and encouraging you to download our app. This is just a trailer, and I will play it here. I sit all alone in a heap as I wait by the door. Cry in my sleep, in my dreams as I wait for more. So where are you? Where are you? Why did you go? So where are you? Where are you? Why did you go? I try, but I fall every time you walk through that door. Why didn't I realize? But I should have known, have known. Thank you for watching that trailer, and I would love to stay in touch and encourage you to check out our Stories of Home app. And if you need more information, you can also write to me and reach out to me on my website. Thank you very much for inviting me to AWE Asia 2021. I'm super excited about the world of XR storytelling, and I would love to hear back from you again. Thank you.